legends tell of a giant man-eating bird, te Hokioi. It was a huge black and white predator with enough power to take down a moa. Look familiar? Scientists matched fossil evidence with oral history to learn the legendary Hokioi was probably the giant eagle Harpagornis. It disappeared centuries ago, like most of our mythical birds. However, there is an exception. It's much smaller than a Harpagornis eagle, and it's not a fearsome predator, but it can be scary, just with the noise it makes. Now, Colin, these look like pretty harmless birds. What are they?
Well, these are snipe, which are a New Zealand bird that not many New Zealanders know about. They used to occur on the mainland, but the introduction of the Kiori, the Polynesian rat, resulted in disappearing from all of the inhabited islands. And now they're only found on some of the smaller outlying islands in the sub-Antarctic and in the Chatham Islands group. In fact, these ones here are some examples of the extinct Stewart Island snipe, which was on some of the muttonbird islands but became extinct when ship rats reached the Big South Cape Islands in the early 1960s. The muttonbirders on these islands would hear this loud noise at night that they were really quite afraid of, and they called it the Hakawai because that was supposedly the bird calling out its name, Hakawai, Hakawai, followed by a roar. And we now believe that it was the snipe that made this noise when they did their nocturnal displays.
Can we hear the sound?
Yeah, I've got a recording here that I made on the Chatham Islands in 1984. So what we're listening to here is this bird calling, the Hakawai, Hakawai part, followed by a roar.
It does kind of sound like a jet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some people described it as the sound of a blind rolling up. You know, if you let go of a window blind, zzz, as it rushes up, or those who served in the war would describe it as a shell passing overhead.
How did you feel when you first heard it?
Yeah, it was literally hair-raising. And part of that was that I knew the story of the Hakawai and all of its mythical connotations, so just having that all come together with actually hearing it for the first time, it was a really thrilling experience. And on some of these museum specimens, you can actually see that they've got broken tips to their tail feathers. And so you can see on this bird here that each of the tail feathers, the shaft has broken and created a sort of inverted V. And we think that's because when they're doing this display, they're diving through the night sky, calling out their name, Hakawai, Hakawai, and then the roar, we think it's they spread the tail feathers out, and it's the rush of air vibrating the tail feathers makes the sound, and the stress of that snaps the shafts of the feathers. So you can see it in birds that you handle in the field and also in some of these museum specimens. No one has yet seen a snipe performing the full display, but it's great that there are still a few mysteries out there.
The Stewart Island snipe became extinct in the 1960s, so museum specimens are vital evidence that the snipe could have once been the legendary Hakawai.